Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Welcome everyone. And for people that saw that intro, just know that Raj and Tom are the only people that really dress like that in real life. Brandon and I are not usually in suit and ties and a tuxedo, but nonetheless, welcome to Reckless Speculation. My name is Robbie Davis. I'm your host tonight, and we are happy to have you here. And then before we get to what we're going to talk about to an NFL show, we have to give a shout out to our sponsors. One is near and dear to my heart. Actually, both are near and dear to my heart. But one is my law firm, Davis, Kessler & Davis. We handle personal injury work in Tennessee and in Georgia. If you are, hopefully you're never hurt, but if you are hurt, please give us a call, Davis, Kessler & Davis. You can Google us and we'll be there at your call. The other one is on a more brighter note, is if you're not in trouble, you're not in financial need, and you have money, you can do the C&W Construction based out of Franklin, Tennessee. They do a little bit of everything from pool remodels, house remodels, full builds, anything, porches, screening porches. You want a basement redone, anything you need, they will do. C&W Construction. So also, real quick, just some gatekeeping. Please like, subscribe, follow. It is Reckless Speculation Podcast on Facebook. Reckless Specu 1 on Twitter, Reckless Speculation Pod 1 on TikTok, and Reckless Speculation on YouTube. If you're watching, you can take a screenshot and follow all of those guys. Without further ado, my castmates on this adventure, one is started off with Tom Sloan.
What's up, Robbie?
Hey.
Yesterday was a bad performance. I'll just leave it at that. I got my A game on today, and I'm ready to go.
Hey, there's no such thing as a bad performance. It's just a less than perfect
stinker. It was a stinker.
Good to see you, man.
Glad to be here. Ready to talk some Lions football. Woo-hoo!
Yes,
forward down the field.
Yes, and we're gonna get into the Lions as the top five. We're going to the Titans at the bottom five. And speaking of the bottom five, a Titans fan, season ticket holder, a sucker who may buy into the new stadium, Brandon Chain.
They look for people like me coming a mile away, don't they? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they sweeten the pot. No, Tom, your show yesterday was perfect. I loved it. I thought it was one of your better shows, even though you messed up. And I liked it because you messed up. So that was great.
Well, thank you.
I think that was the first time Tom has messed up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's human, you know. He doesn't.
I was ready to fold it up and just retire.
You're not
after
AI,
that.
You know. You mess up occasionally. And
I mean,
so funny, and we can banter back and forth. I love stuff like that. So I mess up all the time. You know?
I mean, Brandon, when we think about it, like, does he have an excuse to mess up? I mean, all he does is do all the creative, all of the scheduling, all of the the agenda. Like, what? I mean, how can he mess up?
Hey, and you at least type up the agenda in the doc. I don't know what I do here. Like, I don't know.
Well, you bring knowledge. You bring knowledge. Your fandom, and
well, hey,
I'm a big
perfect.
For you guys.
Hey, before we get into talk, my contribution to this group is teaching you guys how to work Google Docs. That's all I've given you.
You need to work harder on Raj because I still don't think he has that.
Yeah.
I
Raj
don't know.
has no idea what's going
Clocks?
on.
I don't know.
Google Docs. That's where we need to go with Raj. We need to have a whole segment on that. Clocks and Google Docs.
You know what? Next summer we're gonna do the three of us teach Raj Google Docs. All right, boys. But before it gets to next summer, let's talk football. More importantly, NFL. There are no more undefeated teams. Philly went down to the Jets. The Niners went down to the Browns. Which was more surprising, and what do you make of it, Tom?
I'm going to say San Francisco because, and here's why I say San Francisco. The Eagles have been playing with fire probably for the last 3 weeks. And if not for the talent that they've played against, I think they're maybe 2-loss team. So I'm not surprised. Jalen Hurts looked very suspect Sunday. His body language said he had no desire to be there. And they lost a lot on defense in the offseason, and they're paying for it right now. But really, it's Cleveland it's San Francisco losing to Cleveland because P.J. Walker was the starting quarterback for the Browns, who they just signed a week prior. So shocker there. But the momentum that San Francisco had after completely dismantling the Cowboys last week or the week prior, you would have thought that some of that momentum would have carried into Cleveland, who, I mean, they have no offense at this point. Is their defense good? Legit number one defense in the NFL, but they have enough weapons that I thought that they could get through and get past that. But every facet of that defense in Cleveland was dominant. And McCaffrey got out and Deebo Samuel was out. So those are two weapons that they lost. But nonetheless, they're still loaded with Ayuk, with Kittle, with Jennings. They have a talented offense outside of the two guys they lost. But, it kind of like Caleb Williams this week, we haven't seen Brock Purdy play a bad game in the NFL until last week. And it really cost him. So San Francisco, to me, was the bigger surprise.
Tom, I'm going to follow up on this question because you brought it up, and I'm curious. Jalen Hurts' eyes at the end of the game. The camera made a point of showing it. Everyone looked at it. I'm not going to speculate what he looked as. You say he looked disinterested. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's like? Did he look concussed to you? I know you're not. We're none of us doctors. So let's
that I don't know, but he lost his offensive coordinator from last year, Shane Dykins.
Yeah,
and that was probably the first coordinator that he had consistency with in his football career. So I think he's really struggling with this offense, this new offense that they're running. So I don't know if he was concussed, but he had a look of that he had no desire to be there, and he was just completely lost. And really, he had that look the whole game. He just looked completely disheveled. I mean, the Jets defense was all over him, but he's the one aspect of his game that I just haven't seen is his ability to maneuver and his ability to take off with the ball. He's just not doing that for whatever reason. And I don't know. He hasn't looked like the Jalen Hurts of last year so far this season.
Brandon, talk to you. I'll go back to you. More surprising outcome. Eagles losing or Niners losing. And if you want to comment on the Jalen Hurts thing, please do.
Yeah, it was the Niners for me as well. I think they kind of overlooked the Browns, but listen, the Browns defense is solid. And we've said that from the get-go. That's why they were even in the conversation with Deshaun Watson being their quarterback. Could the offense prevail and put this team into a playoff situation. But yes, them losing McCaffrey early, Brock Purdy kind of losing some of his weapons, kind of exposed the real Brock Purdy. Like he's been playing great, and he's a very serviceable quarterback. He doesn't try and be too big outside the moment. Like he stays within himself. But it did, when you start to lose some of those weapons you rely on, it kind of exposes some of your weaknesses a little bit. That and offensive line kind of got dominated, which you hadn't seen all year, for the 49ers. So that was a bigger surprise. It was not a surprise. We knew Philly was on a, tightrope the last few games. And this is the Jets defense we talked about early in the season that is dominant, and it's the only reason they're still hanging around. I mean, talks of Aaron Rodgers coming back would be just unheard of. But if somehow he did, I mean, this team was even close to that range or in a playoff game because of the defense, obviously. Zach Wilson's playing better, but he's, still, probably 31st on the list of quarterbacks in the league right now.
Or
but
lower.
Their defense is great, dude. So that's what happens. It's the NFL. You can't expect to go undefeated. And when you face good defenses that scheme for you and you kind of overlook teams that are, not playing well, you run into buzzsaws.
Well, Brad, let me touch on it. What are the chances Aaron Rodgers plays this season?
I don't think he will. I can't see it. I know he's out there, walking around, throwing the ball, and it's unheard of. Typically they're in a boot still and on crutches. And I mean, it's a whole new technology surgery that he got. So, we'll see. But I think his chances are maybe 20%.
20%. Tom, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you can stand on the football field and play soft toss. Let's not sugarcoat it. It's remarkable for 39-year-old man who just had Achilles surgery not 5 weeks ago to be off crutches, completely walking on his own accord. Yes, he had a new style of a surgery that not many athletes have done. So I think that plays into the count here. It takes a lot of the pressure off the Achilles itself. So where he's at right now, it is a shocker. But I think you look at when it comes to, he got hurt on that home field, so he's going to be a little apprehensive to play there. And when it comes to scrambling, you're really going to put a lot more pressure on that foot. So it's a tough call. I think in his mind, because we all know he's a space cadet. Just listen to him on the Pat McAfee show. In his mind, he probably thinks that he can come back this year. But the reality is, where are the Jets going to be, say, week 15? Where realistically, that's probably right about where he might think about coming back. Are they in a playoff push? What are the doctors really saying? I think that's going to be a defining moment for him. But 20%, I probably agree with you on that. His ego will tell him he can make it, but they want to win. And next year, I think they're going to want to shore up that offensive line to give him a little extra protection and maybe grass. I don't see it happening.
It is less than 0%. I remember when I tore up my knee, I could run in a straight line, and that was fine. You can't turn, so you can run a straight line, but yeah, and same thing with ACL or Achilles. You can throw, but you can't move around with it. So this is just him being a diva. Oh, I'm coming back. No, you're not. He's not coming. There's no way his body is beating the science that's been around for 100 years. Like, I guess it's an experimental surgery, but no, it's not coming
So they
back.
call it the speed bridge, where they place an internal brace in the Achilles, basically. So they implant like a brace over the Achilles, so that the strain doesn't take on the actual Achilles tendon. So it's designed to protect the repair and expedite a potential return to the field. Does not guarantee a quicker return.
He's
It's
not coming
designated
back.
to enhance the strength, repair, and guard it against stretching. So, I don't see it because that's risky.
Well, let's just say he could come back. They're playing 3 road playoff games. They're not going to win all 3. Like, it's stupid to rush back. And
Well, that and like you said, are they even going to be in the playoffs at that point?
Right.
Week 15, probably not.
they're 3rd in the East alone.
They're trending towards maybe a 500 season right now, or just slightly below. But
they're 10th in the AFC.
And Zach Wilson start throwing for 300 yards a game, which is.
Well, we went from the NFC to the AFC, Aaron Rodgers somehow. So, Tom, this is your chance, and you've been waiting for this maybe your entire life to rank the NFC power rankings. What do you have? I have a feeling you have a certain blue team number 1, but what do you got?
1991, I remember it well. That was the last time the Detroit Lions won a playoff game. It was against the Dallas Cowboys. They absolutely.
Isn't that their only one?
That's the only in the NFL.
Yeah, you don't have to say the last time
their
you won.
Only playoff win. Yeah, prior to 1957 when they won the National Football Championship, but they beat the Cowboys, who, ironically enough, go on to be a dynasty after that, starting the following season. So, yes, I was. Let's see, I was 13 when that happened. So, to say that what is happening in Detroit is just an absolute dream come true would be an understatement. So, I'll start from 5 and work my way down. I think the Rams right now are sitting at 5. Cooper Kupp coming back doesn't look like he missed the step. You pair him with Puka Nacua, who's been an absolute flash this season. So, and you have Matt Stafford. If you can keep him healthy, he's still a really good quarterback in this league. So I like where they're going. Number 4, the Cowboys. I am not sold on this team. I'm not sold on Dak Prescott. He did not impress me. They got away with one this past week playing the Chargers, who are complete frauds. So they sit at 4. Philly at 3. Again, there's something wrong with Jalen Hurts, and they're just not saying it. And that secondary is really weak. They go and get Julio Jones. Their receivers aren't the problem. And you bring up Julio Jones off the scrap heap. I don't know if that's the answer. You need to go get defensive help and if they want to move. So they're at 3. Number 2, the 49ers. I think we learned a lot about San Francisco this week against Cleveland. Still think they're a hell of a team, but I think we learned a lot about them because, yes, they lost 2 weapons, but this team that I'm saying is number 1 after week 6 in the NFL has lost a lot of weapons too, and they just have next man up, and they're getting it done. That is my 5-1 Detroit Lions. Forward down the field, baby. That's right. This team, outside of week 2, which I think they came into that, they thought they were overconfident and they got smacked in the mouth. They have played great football after that. Brian Branch hasn't been in the lineup. Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't been in the lineup. Their secondary is depleted. They just keep putting the next guy up, and they're competing week in and week out We lose David Montgomery last week. They bring in Craig Reynolds, who gets the job done, who ends up having the block of the year that sprung Amon-Ra St. Brown for his touchdown. But I just consistently all year, except for week 2, they have been as good as advertised. And that defense is incredible. 46 yards average on the ground. They held Tampa Bay.
Damn Detroit.
They held Tampa Bay to 2 field goals. I love it. Go, baby. Go, Lions.
Oh, God. He's been waiting for 20 years to say that. All right, Brandon, what do you got?
Give me some hope.
I'm going to start from 1 to 5. Number 1, I don't have the Lions. I've got the 49ers still. Give me Shanahan in the offensive mind right now. I know they lost a couple players. They had a little hiccup game. But that was a good defense they were playing against. So, overlooked, I think, in that game, and plus the injuries that kind of put him back. It's the NFL. So, I mean, you're not going to go perfect. But I still like the 49ers and what they've done thus far. I do have Lions at number 2, though. Lions at number 2. They've really been impressive. Jared Goff has looked great. The whole front office, Dan Campbell, their ownership, everything's been good about them. And they have played next man up for the most part. And they got a real shot this year. I really do think so. So I like them at number 2. I hate to put Cowboys at 3. That sucks. Wow. I've got them over the Eagles because I don't see. I think the Eagles have been walking that tightrope for a while on a high horse, and I think we just saw the first string start to pull and see a little bit of unraveling, and I think they're going to start sliding pretty quickly. And then, Cowboys, Eagles, and then I agree with the Rams. There's almost a toss-up. I think just offensively they're better. I had the Bucks probably at number 6. Baker Mayfield's been playing out of his mind this year, and they've looked really good at times and, not so good at times. So I'll take the higher-powered offense with the Rams at number 5.
So this is difficult for me. If we're doing right now, I guess we are doing right now, I will rank, because I think ultimately home field is going to come down to the NFC. If Detroit gets home field, Detroit's going to the Super Bowl.
I'm not sure. Tom's going to pass out over there.
I fear what would happen to the city. I'm just saying.
I'm going Philly number 1 because until they get beat by someone that matters, I'm taking them. I'm going Detroit 2, San Fran 3, and then honestly, this division's, I guess, Dallas, and then hell, Atlanta? I mean, no, Seattle, maybe?
We're falling off the tracks, folks.
No, I mean, no one's any good. Well, hell, y'all took the Rams. The Rams are behind Seattle in the same division. I mean, no one's any good after that. All right.
Hey, Robbie, you've made it known. The name of this show is Reckless Speculation. That is a reckless, speculative NFC Power 5.
Hey, you want to bet? If you want to put a side bet, Seattle finished in front of the Rams, I'll take it.
That may be the case. But right now, I think the Rams are playing better football than Seattle. They have a better offense.
You also think Detroit's going to make the playoffs. But anyways.
You just said they win the Super Bowl if they get home field advantage. What are you talking about?
Well, I know, and told Tom just kiss of death them. I'm also a believer of sports gods. And
have you seen that NFC North?
Tom's flying way too close to the sports god here. All right.
I'll put some
So
lotion on.
I don't know, Tom, if you know about or your fantasy league is doing what our fantasy league is doing. Well, I mean, my fantasy team's doing awesome. Brandon's not so much. But
We have the same record. I don't know what you're talking about.
anyways, the NFL, look, it's a dangerous sport. Injuries are piling up. They went to 17 games here recently. Can they do anything? I mean, like, or is this just the nature of the beast? What do you think? I mean, I know I think recently I read they've starting to outlaw tackles around the knees.
Yeah.
Can they do anything about this though?
So one of the things they're talking about in the meetings right now is the pull down tackles from the waist. And the example they showed was Geno Smith against I forget who I think they were playing. No, it was, damn it. I can't remember who he was playing, but it was on the sidelines and the guy grabs a hold of the waist and the momentum like pulls him down. So they're saying that's contributing to a lot of injuries. Can they fix it? I don't think so, because these guys are so fast and they're so big. And until they outright ban hitting, which they're not going to do, I don't see any scenario where these injuries don't happen. Now, there's a big push for these stadiums to convert to grass. The NFLPA is pushing to have all these stadiums have grass, but it's easier said than done. Take, for example, Detroit. Where are you going to go grass? There's nowhere to grow grass around Ford Field. You have Vegas, you have Arizona, where those stadiums were designed to bring the grass in and out. That's not the case in Detroit. And I don't think it's a situation where you can...
To push back, the NFL stance is you're a $6 billion company. You can grow grass inside. Like,
how?
No, it can be done.
How are you going to grow grass inside? You're going to bring it in chunks?
Yeah, greenhouses do it all the time.
Well, and you almost have to convert these northern stadiums to domes and climate control to where you can grow grass and keep it,
We're talking 5 years down the road. That's something that, the NFLPA wants them to do it now. And you're going to have to retrofit a lot of these stadiums so your domes you're going to have, iridescent lights or whatever. So it's going to be like a dispensary at Ford Field, which it already is. I'm not going to lie, but but here's the thing. You get these outdoor stadiums, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Green Bay. You grow grass there. The grass doesn't grow after mid-October, end of October. And then that field becomes hardened because of the weather, and there's no give. So I don't really, I'm not a scientist, but I don't know if that's the end all be all. Is what I'm trying to say.
So the hypocrisy of it is that the NFL is saying, we need, or the NFLPA is saying we need grass, but then they're pushing indoor stadiums. So the Titans have an outdoor stadium. Everything always goes back to this Titan stadium that we don't like. Yes, we have an outdoor stadium. We had grass. Now we're moving indoors, and we're gonna have artificial turf. More injuries. Like the NFL is moving everything into indoors because they want Super Bowls. They want Final Fours. They're all just so GD greedy. And then they like, we want player safety, but do they? Like, how can you grasp this, Brandon?
I mean, that's the only step I can see to help limit injury, and that'll just limit non-contact injury for the most part, with your ACLs and Aaron Rodgers, the Achilles deal, that was a contact injury, but the turf is a big deal. The players that play on it, they're the ones that talk about it and how different it is and how it reacts and grabs your feet and your cleats. And so that's a whole issue. But as far as, trying to hit, if they tell you can't hit in the legs,
Right.
which they already told you can't hit in the head, like,
Up high.
or you just have to put flags on them at this point. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't hit anywhere. Like, there'll be no defense. It'll just be, why don't we just do 7-on-7 and throw flags on them? And
did you hear what Tom Brady said? That this is becoming flag football.
It is. It's been trending that way for the last 5-7 years.
Which is an Olympic sport, by the way.
If you can't grab someone by the waist and tackle them, and you can't hit him in the head, you can't hit him in the knees. Like,
listen, as a football player, and I played defense, and you're going into a tackle, and you're trying to do like a perfect form tackle, whatever. There are 1,000 variables that happen in a split second that you can't control, and your momentum and everything's already carrying you in one direction. Like, that's all you got. Like,
you're gonna have to retrain all these players.
Like, you can't help that someone ducks their head and then you hit crown to crown. That you were aimed at their waist or their chest or whatever, and they duck, or you hit their legs and they spin. It's just ridiculous.
Well, and you're foolish if you don't think. Let's say you have Ray Lewis or somebody, and they say this is how he tackles. Hey, put a backup running back in there. When he go dive head to head, get him kicked out of the game. Like, that's just,
you could do something like that. Yeah. Like,
that's just
offensively targeting.
Yeah.
No, I see that, but which is just, it's dumb and it's a disgrace to the game. Like, if we're going to move in that direction, then just not have full contact football and just like do something different, because you can only protect so much.
I'll take my 2 cents on this. Look, I'm never about people hurting themselves, but I've always thought, look, you know what you sign up for, and
same as a NASCAR driver.
Yes, you risk yes. Actually, Brandon, that's a great analogy. I've never thought of that. NASCAR, like, yes, you sign up for this. You're putting your life on the risk. The money's good and the thrill's great, and you want to do this. You want to be great, and there's risk involved.
Absolutely. Like, you can only put so many pads around a racetrack, and the car's still going to catch on fire, like in a horrific wreck. Like, that's just part of it. You can make provisions and try and they have. Technology with the padding and the helmets and everything's gotten so much better. But unless you just want to do a different sport, like, you can't just cut it off at the legs. So it's getting ridiculous.
Speaking of car wrecks, let's talk about what's going on in New England. Look,
train wreck. That's not a car wreck.
Bill Belichick, arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time. I put him as 3 in my list. But one of the greatest unarguably one of the greatest coaches of all time. He is struggling right now. Bob Kraft, through Belichick, has had a philosophy: get rid of them before they get rid of you. Tom, what do you expect? How do you think this ends?
Well, I think it all starts with his coaching philosophy. It's very old school, and he has not kind of translated to the times that the changes that we've seen in the NFL, and his ability to draft the last 5 years has been really bad. So he hasn't been willing to change, whether that's his arrogance or whatever, his beliefs. It's just not working. I do think this could be his last year in New England. he won't be fired. It'll be a gentleman's agreement, and
I
Bob
agree with
Kraft is
that.
very respectable. He's going to give him that respect to say, hey, you know, we need to go in a different direction because it's not working out. But I want you to have the ability to go out on your own terms. And if it's not this season, next season for sure. But my theory is that this will be the end for Belichick, and it, you know, it is sad. You see the great ones, you know, even when the players go, even the coaches now that they're out of tune, they're out of touch with what's going on in today's game. So I think Bob Kraft knows that he got a lot of recognition due to Bill Belichick, and he's going to give him that respect and allow him to kind of resign and walk out on his own.
Well, Tom, do you think, because obviously Bill Belichick wants to break Don Shula's record, do you think, so if I'm correct, and he's one of the top 3 coaches of all time, if New England cuts bait with him, does he get another job?
No, because he's 4 years maybe from getting to Don Shula's record. I don't see it, and I don't think he'd take another job.
So quickly, where do you rank Belichick of all time?
I think top 3 is a good placement. I mean, his rings. What has he got? 5, 6?
No, he's got 6.
I mean, that speaks for itself. And you can say that Tom Brady made him who he is. I mean, that may be the case, but he was the architect for those defenses for many years. So that defense was the one winning them championships. You know.
So you think, so just to clarify, if Belichick leaves New England, he will not coach any of the other 32 franchises?
No.
All right,
No.
Brandon, comments on that? What Tom said and what?
Yeah, I don't think he's coaching anywhere else. I mean, that's New England's his place. That's where he's built his whole career.
No. Assuming he wants to coach, though.
I don't think he will. I mean, if he can't,
will anyone give him a job?
No.
If he still wanted to coach, and even if, you know, they head down the path they're on right now and finish the season, you know, bottom 5 in the NFL. If he still wants to coach, I would think Kraft would have the respect to say, all right, give me a number, like how much longer are we looking at here? And what can we do to change this? I could see that happening, or I don't think he coaches anymore. He just doesn't look as enthusiastic. Even his press conference interviews are just not as.
Yep.
I mean, I feel
he
like
was talking about Taylor Swift a couple weeks ago. So
he's got one leg out.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hey,
coming from Bill Belichick, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. So look, he played the Moneyball game for a long time, and he got 6 rings out of it. It's just he's hit this window late in his career where he doesn't really have a star anywhere. And there's nothing to really build on. So I think he's struggling with that. And he also doesn't have draft capital like he used to maneuver somehow. They always had like 20 picks every damn draft, which was.
So, Brandon, where do you put Bill Belichick in your top coaches?
Probably number 2.
All right, behind
Shula.
And then who's number 3?
Parcells.
Tom?
Well, maybe Tom Landry fits in there somewhere, and Don Shula. I mean, I agree with that. And so, I mean, it's maybe 2 for Belichick. Shula's the ultimate. He's the undefeated coach, but yeah, I mean, It's tough. That's tough. So I mean, somewhere in 2 or 3 range is where I think he's at.
Yeah, so it's funny. So I go Parcells, Gibbs.
You just
Belichick.
like Gibbs because he's a NASCAR owner.
Mhm.
No, Gibbs. Gibbs is the only person that's won 3 Super Bowls with 3 quarterbacks, none of them in the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
That's impressive. Anyways,
yeah, it is.
yeah, think about that. Three Super Bowls, 3 quarterbacks, none in the Hall of Fame.
Mark
You know what's
Rippon.
also more impressive, 6 Super Bowls with the same quarterback.
Yeah.
Well,
Mark Rippon, Doug Williams.
Super Bowl, and that quarterback went to Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl without him. And since he's left, Belichick's still under 500. That's how tough the NFL is.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
Anyways, we'll move on. So we're talking about coaches. We're talking about quarterbacks. Let's talk about the finances of the NFL. Look, Roger Goodell just got another 3-year extension, $60 million plus a year. He's going to make $700-something million during his 20-year reign of this reign of the commissioner of the NFL. As a salary cap is structured, and you're looking at winning, like, can your quarterback, or what? I should phrase this: you have to win young, right? Or if when you get to the second level of that quarterback, are you doomed unless you have a stud? Because you can't have the Kirk Cousins or the Tannehills. Like, you can't win championships with them because you have to have capital. And so, Tom, I'm going to talk to you because you got Goff, but you got Goff on a backup salary. Now you guys got to build around him.
Well, we got Goff when he was still on his big deal that he had from the Rams.
Aren't the Rams paying for most of it?
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But this will be it for him as far as that contract goes. So they're going to re-up him. He's going to get a 4-year deal by, after the bye is my guess. But I don't know if winning young is the catalyst. I feel like you take Jared Goff, somebody that, Sean McVay threw him out, had nothing to do with him, had to play him in a playoff game against Seattle because his starter he put in got run over. So I think if you take the right quarterback, and now I'm not a big fan of Kirk Cousins, but I think if you put Kirk Cousins on the Jets, they're a playoff contender. They're a possible Super Bowl contender.
But the Jets can't afford the rest of their team if they have Kirk Cousins.
Well, they can afford him for the rest of this year because he's got an expiring contract. But I think if you put like Jared Goff, really, when we got him here 3 years ago, 70% of the fan base, maybe even higher, was like, what are they doing? This guy is over with. He's done. Now he is loved in this city. He's a god in this city. So he got into a good system, the right system. And you hear system quarterback. And I think this is a certain situation for, some older players. Matt Stafford, for an example, 12th year in his career, he wins a Super Bowl. So I guess the situation depends on whether or not a quarterback, maybe past his prime, we'll say, can be successful. But generally speaking, you take a quarterback like a Mahomes and you build from that. And that's why they've been successful. But
well, I mean, I don't think it's debatable. The best way to win is to get a hit on a quarterback, get that young contract, and then build around
lock him up.
them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I almost think. And Brandon, I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong. As a Titans fan, I think that's what we're hoping for. Is like, and that's what we're doing. It appears like just keep drafting quarterbacks till we hit one, and then just like we're just in. I mean, I wouldn't say purgatory, but we have the worst division in football, and we still can't win it.
Yeah, and our windows damn near
Done.
shut at this point. Like we're in full like rebuild, blow up mode. Like we got to start trading good players for their last year or two, whatever we can get out of them, including Henry. Unfortunately, we missed the window and we missed those quarterbacks. But this is you're right though with your point. The best way to win is to catch that early quarterback on a rookie contract and build around them. Because as soon as that second term contract comes up, if your quarterback's, in the top 12 of the NFL,
That's $500 million.
You're a product of inflation and the economics of the NFL, and you have to pay what is due. And that's just what's going to happen, regardless of performance afterwards. And we're seeing a lot of that. I mean, the whole new guaranteed contract and, it's a completely different world. They have their own economic system like going on in the NFL.
Print their own money.
Yeah.
Well, to the point is, San Francisco's so good because Brock Purdy's their quarterback, and he's making probably $300,000 a year. $900,000 a year.
Yeah, 879.
Yeah, and so they can get all these tools around him. Where Tannehill's making what, $17 million a year, maybe more.
Yeah, 17 too much.
Yeah, and so if you can hit on these quarterbacks,
no, you're exactly right.
Yeah,
and I think that's the whole gig, right? Because quarterback's highest paid position.
Yeah,
and then if you find a diamond in the rough and you catch wind in the second or third year, that's when you can really move around and add some free agents and pay some of these other players that have developed and build your team. But you're right. I mean, quarterback, they take such a huge part of the cap. You just, unless you're like Tom Brady or even Aaron Rodgers lately, that's willing to negotiate and make room for more players. And especially these kids on the second year contract, that's their big deal. They want that.
Well, just take Bryce Young. Bryce Young's first round pick. He probably signed a 3 or 4 year deal. At year 3, they've got to either franchise him or re-sign him.
Yeah,
that's a 3-year. If they re-sign him, that's a half.
He's got to do a 5th year option if they wanted to pick it up, and then it's after that. But
yeah, so it really is gambling, and it's like
oh yeah.
I think the NFL is almost getting to more like Moneyball than it has been in the past. Like, figure out low draft picks who can play. Colin Kaepernick, Brock Purdy, whoever else it is. Tom, what do you think?
That's tough. That's tough, especially when you just had Burrow re-up, you had Herbert re-up, and these guys are making $40+ million a year, and they're not producing. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think maybe this is a good opportunity for owners to see, hey, you know what? We don't necessarily have to have the best quarterback, although it helps. But now
Burrow's a bum, by the way.
Well, you're looking at now more guaranteed money. So these players, it used to be, what if they got hurt? They'd sign a big deal, but there was no guaranteed money. They get hurt, they're out the door. Now they get hurt, you're stuck with them. So I think the conversation will be had as to, what did San Francisco do to catch a diamond in the rough and whatnot. But ultimately, there's money to be had in this league because it makes way too much money. And we've said it time and time again, the NFL is king. And I don't see any change as far as the way teams approach.
The only problem with that is if they're going to play ball and they want, teams to be good without spending all their capital or salary cap on a quarterback, they're going to have to re-up the salary cap. That has to expand.
And it should. The money they make?
That's what I'm saying. Or they need to have a little bit of a recession and a restructuring of these contracts, like not so much guaranteed, more incentivized. Like you get what you're worth on the field, basically. Like you could make $100 million this year if you do this, this, and this, or you can make 7.
All right, boys. AFC power rankings. What do you got, Tom? We're starting with you. AFC power rankings.
All right, I'll go. I'll start number 1. It's the Dolphins. It's the offense. We know what it is. Amazing. You have Tyreek Hill, who is like 140 yards away from 1,000 in week 6. So, number 2, I'm going Chiefs. They made a move today. They got Nicole Hardman back. So that's going to give Patrick Mahomes another familiar face. So he's not, only concentrating on a Kelsey. Number 3, Buffalo. I think Buffalo is a bit of a fraud, a lot like Dallas. You want to talk body language? Josh Allen, something's going on in Buffalo. He looked really bad this past week. Jacksonville, they're making their move. They go to London 1-3. They come back 3-3, and they win again. I think Sunshine is ready to roll. I believe in Doug Peterson. And number 5, this might be a stretch, but I really believe in the NFL defense matters, and the Cleveland Browns. I think at number 5, the way the Browns play defense, they proved it. Just do enough on offense, and they can get by. So I like Cleveland at 5.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's drunk tonight. All right, Brandon, what do you want?
I've got Dolphins for obvious reasons. Chiefs, Bills. Change it up there on 4. I got Ravens and then Jags. Jags at 5. No elaboration, just straight chalk.
Jags or Ravens would probably sit at 6 for me. It's
right.
Interesting. The NFC and AFC, the first 3 are pretty convincing. After that,
it's
iffy.
This is the weakest NFL overall I've seen in a long time. I'm going Miami also.
Side note, I could see in about 4 or 5 weeks the Texans slipping up into that number 5 spot.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
That's stupid.
All right, Rob, go ahead.
I got Miami. I got Buffalo, KC. No, I'm not doing Jackson. No one in the South is worth them. I go Baltimore. And then
gotta go South. Texans.
God damn it! This is no, not Texans though. I'll go.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Love you, Dad.
Good God. I'm gonna the Jets. Just
what?
After all that time, you take the Jets. Okay.
You know,
those margaritas must have been fire tonight.
League. There's not that much to it. All right. So we got about 10 minutes left. We're doing our bottom 5 of the entire NFL. This is the rock bottom. This was, you know what? This is how quickly things change. When we developed this, we were thinking this is the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Now, I'm not sure I want Caleb Williams in the first round at all. So this is how quickly things change. This is how attitude changes. So, but nonetheless, we're going to go with our worst 5 teams in the league. I'm switching my note cards. Who wants to start? Brandon.
All right, starting from the bottom, the worst to the least worst. I got Panthers.
Wait, hold on, wait. The worst, the least. So you're going
1 through 5.
Yeah.
So the number 1's the worst.
Correct.
Okay.
Number 32 ranked team in my docket is the Panthers. Bryce Young is not proving much, although he doesn't have much to work with there. Panthers are terrible. Then I got the Pats. Belichick's on his way out, like we talked about. Then the Bears. That whole situation is, I don't know what's going on there.
Hey, DJ Moore.
DJ Moore's good. Justin Fields is good when he has protection. I mean, he's not like, he's a serviceable quarterback. He's not like great or anything or elite.
All right, go on. Don't let me interrupt.
Then I got Broncos at number 29. Then I'm going to go Cardinals. Kyler Murray hasn't been there yet. I know he's talks about him playing as of late, but I don't think
he
that's
practiced today. He tweeted it.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. They're terrible.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, my worst team, similar to Brandon's list here. I think New England right now is trending in the wrong direction. Carolina had a really nice first quarter against Miami, then they stopped playing. But so New England, Carolina is my second worst team. The Bears, you might not see Justin Fields play for another 3-4 weeks, if at all, because with that thumb issue, surgery is probably on the horizon. Denver is just God-forsaken. Peyton should have stayed in Fox. Should have stayed in LA. He made a huge mistake coming back. And the Giants, just an awful offense. Terrible coaching this past week. Has no control. And Danny Dimes, $45 million quarterback. He's terrible. So he's worse than Kirk Cousins. So
100%.
I'm going Denver. I'm going New York Giants. I agree with them. They're terrible. I'm going Tennessee. I think it's a cluster. They're going downhill. Chicago.
Yeah.
And then I think Carolina, but they at least have hope. None of those teams have hope.
What's the hope in Carolina?
I mean, their division
Adam Thielen?
sucks, and they at least have a quarterback. I mean,
Yeah, Adam Thielen. Yeah.
they've got a young quarterback. I mean, Titans, we suck and we have no hope. All right, boys and girls, let me find my mouse. We are down to the
Bet your nuts.
Bet Your Nuts picks.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
All right, it is time to make some money. Hopefully you watched yesterday's show and you have money in the bank because we gave you guys a bunch of winners. Today we're gonna this is what we call a compounding interest. So we're gonna give you some more money today. So first up we have Browns versus Colts. So Indy is at home +3. Vegas thinks the Browns are going to win. What do you say, Tom?
I saw this number.
Richardson's out.
Richardson's out for the year. Minshew madness, who hasn't had a lot of madness this year. Defense wins. I think defense wins. They're going to get all over Minshew at the big game with Myles Garrett. So give me Cleveland. Just enough.
Cleveland. All right. Brandon Chain.
Yeah, Cleveland all day. No question.
Watson might play. He's non-committal at this point. So.
I'm going Minshew madness. I'm going Indy on this one, guys.
Lone Wolf.
All right. Then we got the unbettable Falcons going at Tampa. Tampa is laying -2.5. Brandon, we'll start with you on this one.
Give me Mayfield and the Bucks at home. Falcons are not so great, so I like the Bucks where they're at right here.
Tom?
Yeah, the one thing that you could count on was Ritter winning at home. He lost at home last week. I think Tampa Bay bounces back after being shown who owns Tampa Bay with the Lions. So give me the Fighting Baker Mayfields to cover. This number is ridiculous. 2.5. They're going to
I
win
think
by at
that's
least a
dumb.
touchdown.
I think it's like a 10-point game personally, but
Yeah.
Oh boy. Give me the Falcons. You guys are dumb. Like, oh boy.
PSA,
right.
don't
All right,
listen to Robbie.
Okay, next up we have Tommy Toes Lions at Baltimore getting +3. I think we could all agree on this one, I think. Tom, I'll save you for last. I'll go first. I'm going the Detroit basketball type Lions. Brandon?
This one is
Oh boy.
it's a little iffy for me. I really, really want to pick one team, but I'm gonna have to go Lions. I'm gonna have to go Lions to cover.
Oh boy.
I think it ends up as a push and it doesn't hurt our record, but
Tommy Toes, what are you doing?
I was a little nervous with this game until I watched.
Well, we both picked them, so you should pick the Ravens.
Until I watched Baltimore almost cough up the lead last week against your Tennessee Titans. They're coming back from London. I think that's advantage Lions. We're going to get Jahmyr Gibbs back. Brian Branch might play. I like the Lions here. I think they've got the momentum. They roll. Oh, well,
it's interesting that so NFL gives teams in London the chance for a bye week or not. Titans took the bye. Baltimore did not. So they said we're ready to play again.
And another interesting caveat with that game: Tennessee didn't get to London until they didn't travel till Friday. Yeah, so they only had 2 days to prepare. So no, I think this is a close game, but Lamar hasn't looked Lamar like another guy that got a huge contract and now he's not really performing. So
again, don't pay people. All right. So we are all three on Detroit. So next we got the Chargers at the Chiefs. Chiefs minus 5.5. Brandon, we'll start with you.
This is easy. I think this line is way off. The Chargers are terrible right now. Missing players. They all look terrible. Everyone tries to downplay the weapons around Justin Herbert to make him look better, saying that, oh, they're not playing so good. They're not. Justin Herbert's not playing so good. He looks terrible. And Keelan Moore, whatever his name is, offensive coordinator, he couldn't make it at the Cowboys.
He's a bum. They're all bums.
Give me the damn Chiefs all day. They win by 10.
Yeah, this is Kansas City's breakout game. They haven't looked Kansas City Chief like. They will this week. Nicole Hardman coming back. This number is a lot like the Tampa game, like 5.5. Are you serious? This could be a 2-touchdown game. You can't beat the Cowboys at home. You're not going to Kansas City, and you're not going to cover that number. So give me Kansas, baby. Give me Kansas City like all day. I might actually put money on that. I might put a parlay together. You never know.
Robbie's got a little San Diego softy in his heart. I can see it.
No, I hate if there's any team I hate the Chargers. But you guys are falling into the NFL trap. They do this to you. This is what it's made for. No, give me the Chargers. You guys are such dummies.
I can't wait.
No, the Chargers are going to win because that's what the NFL does. They always fool you. Anyways, thanks for your donations. So we got the the Dolphins at Eagles. Eagles minus 2.5. this is the battle of Alabama quarterbacks. Both loaded teams. Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. Dolphins with Tua are hard to beat. Tom, what are you going to do with this one?
The glaring problem with the Eagles is their secondary. They've lost their two best secondary guys in C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Epps, who now is with the Raiders. And they haven't recovered, and they're not going to recover this week. 2.5. I'm shocked that Philly's favored. I think the only reason why they're favored because it's at home. I think Tua throws all day. Tyreek Hill wants to get over 1,000 this week. Miami's going to win this game.
Brandon?
Yeah, it's a tough game for me. Philly's been looking like we said, walking on a tightrope. So, but Miami, has surprised me with a loss here or there, or I think they got one, whatever they lost that game they lost. I didn't think they should have. Still give me Miami here. I think you're right, Tom. I think secondary is depleted in Philly, and I would probably even take the over in this game. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. It's 51.5 right now.
I will make it unanimous. Yeah, Tua's going to light this secondary up. Hey, as long as he can stay healthy, that's the most dangerous offense in football.
Yeah.
All right, so the final pick we have, the 49ers, -7 at the Vikings, which is Kirk Cousins' lair. So I'm not sure you want to bet against Kirk Cousins here, but Tom, I'll let you start with it.
You want to talk about a team that's depleted defensively? Daniil Harris, what's his name? Oh, I forget his name. Their best defender is on the trading block. So how much will he play? San Francisco is going to avenge that embarrassment in Cleveland. The San Francisco 49ers have only given up 87 points this year. They're not going to give up a whole lot of points to Minnesota. They win big, at least 10. Kirk Cousins is going to be saying, golly, a whole lot, and ouch, and he's going to be looking up at the dome at whatever the name of their stadium is.
Brandon, I'll go before you. I will say San Francisco wins, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. Kirk Cousins is going to score about 45 fantasy football points.
Not without Justin Jefferson, he won't.
And not without Jefferson. And he's on my fantasy team, currently riding the IR.
Wait. Are you still involved in fantasy?
Oh, shit. We have the same record, like I said, and you've gotten lucky because your conference that you play in is so damn weak. Like you play against 40 points a week or something. It's ridiculous. Anyway, give me the 49ers all day. I think without Jefferson, they're going to rely heavily on Hawkinson, and I still think their defense is just garbage. And then Kirk Cousins is going to throw like at least 3 interceptions against that defense, or maybe a sack fumble or something. So, yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah, Kurt. Your boy Kurt. He always throws interceptions when he's on your team. He's a bum.
No. Okay. Anyways. All right. There's our bets. We have a bet your nuts. We have them recorded. We will post them. Well, Tom may post them, may not. I'm not sure how he works this thing. But anyways, thank you for watching. Before we go, though, we have our final thoughts for the night. Here we go. Final thoughts. Final words. Tom, you want to start?
I'll start with something not really sports related. As everyone knows, unless you've lived under a rock, there's been a lot of dissension in the Middle East. For whatever rhyme, whatever reason, I don't understand it, and I'm pretty sure I can speak with the fellas on this show. It's something that's beyond our expertise as to why there are fighting going on and what side is who and who to blame. There's a lot of finger pointing. But my point is, you look at the situation going on over there, and then you really have to look what we have in this country. We're not united 100%. There's a lot of division, but the reality is we've got it pretty damn good. And being in this country, we are privileged. There's no question about that. We do have things to worry about, but not to the scope that we witnessed last week. And I just think, to keep it real short and sweet, appreciate what you have, appreciate where you live, and just be thankful. And Brandon or Robbie spoke on it last week. Just reach out to people and ask how they're doing and listen. And I think the world will be a better place.
Well said, man. Really well said. And it needs to be replayed over and over and over again. People need to learn about, talk to each other. And so, well said. My final thoughts are nothing deep this week. It is just simply, it's Tennessee, Alabama week. Everyone get your cigars ready, and hopefully we can win. And if we do win, you saw Neyland last year with cigar smoke flowing everywhere. I hope the whole state of Tennessee has cigar smoke flowing everywhere this week. So, hopefully the Vols can go down to Tuscaloosa and get a win. It's been, I don't even know how long, but yeah, hopefully they can win. Brandon, over to you.
Man, I hope we can win too. I'm still nervous about this Penn State game. I will be. So some of you guys know, I've talked about it. We had our greens redone here at the course, whatever. We just had our member guest, not last week, but the week before. And now they're cramming in the member. So the member members this week, it's basically the same thing as member guest, except you play with a member instead of a guest, obviously. So that starts tomorrow for me. I will be playing during the Ohio State-Penn State game, but I also will have it on my phone while I'm playing in the golf cart. So I'll be watching. Also makes me nervous because I can't see every play all the time, and I'm trying to focus on two things. So my golf game's probably going to suffer a little bit. So to my partner, Rob, I'm sorry if you're watching. I'm going to be a little focused on both. But no, good show, fellas. Looking forward to a lot of good football this week, NFL and college.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you for watching. Again, if you can take some time, subscribe, like, do everything of these social media things that are on your screen. Google us. Any of us, I think any of us in podcast maybe will show up, but definitely Reckless Speculation Podcast will show up. It will help. Even if you don't listen, just please just Google it and follow. But anyways, if you do listen, you will enjoy, I promise. Anyways, good night, everyone. And go Vols. It's weird to say go blue and go Bucks, but that's what we're at. And also, Raj doesn't get a go Trojans because he can't show up. But anyways, we will not fight on. But anyways, hopefully we come back next week. And if the Vols beat the Tide, it will be a cocky me tomorrow.
We'll all smoke a cigar for the show.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
Yes, I will be smoking a cigar the whole show. Anyways, check out our NFL show, check out our college show. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation. Cheers.